Good morning. In last class, we have discussed about different phases which are common to different group of organisms, like juvenile phase, reproductive phase, and senescence phase. Okay, so these three phases are common for different group of organisms like plants, fungi, and animals. Okay, and these three common changes, transition between these three phases, there are certain factors which are responsible for transition between these three phases. So now let us understand about what are the different factors which helps in transition between three phases. Okay, juvenile phase, reproductive phase, and senescence phase are the three different phases, and they change one after the another sequentially. Automatically it will change in the body of organisms, for which there are certain factors which can regulate the changes between these three phases. Okay, now let us understand what are those factors. Number one, hormones. Mainly hormones which are responsible for transition between three phases. Okay, and another one is interaction between different hormones. Interaction between different hormones interaction. So hormones means single hormone will not be produced. There are set of hormones which are responsible for transition between these three phases, and among those hormones interaction takes place. So this interaction between different hormones and also certain environmental factors along with the hormones. Some environmental factors are also responsible for transition between these three phases, and also regulation of associated reproductive activities in these organisms. So that now you should understand what are the factors which automatically regulate changes in the three phases. Juvenile phase, it is changed into reproductive phase. Again, after reproductive phase, the individual enters into senescence phase. That is because of these two factors. One is the hormones which are produced in the body of an individual, and another one is certain environmental factors. So these two are responsible for transition between these three phases. Okay, so this is about we have understood about different phases which are common for different group of organisms. Okay, we'll move to next concept. So in sexually reproducing organisms, there are reproductive cycles. Okay, I can tell you these reproductive cycles. Okay, now just observe here. Organisms like frogs, lizards, birds. Okay, so these are all different classes of organisms. In addition to this, there is one more class of organisms, that is nothing but mammals. Now what are the major difference between these two? Why I have marked a line between these two set of organisms. These organisms, there is something character which is common regarding their reproduction. Some character is common for these organisms regarding reproduction and which is different from this set of organisms. What is that common character between these three classes of animals? Egg laying. Egg laying. So these are all egg laying animals as far as the reproduction is concerned. But these mammals are basically, they give birth to the young ones. They give birth to young ones. Okay, they are mainly giving birth to young ones. So this is the major difference between these two set of organisms. Okay, and when we think of these birds, particularly these birds which are living in nature, birds living in nature, birds which are living in nature are wild. The animals which are living in nature are called as wild animals. They lay eggs. They lay eggs only during specific season. Only during specific season. Okay. So you have to understand the term here. The birds which are living in the nature or in the wild, they lay eggs only during a specific season. So that they lay eggs seasonally, not throughout the year. Okay. But we can see a birds which are there in the captivity. Birds present in the captivity. It means in the poultry farm. Birds present in the poultry farm, they are made to lay eggs. Made to lay eggs all through the year. All through the year, or it means throughout the year they lay eggs. Once if they start laying eggs, they will lay eggs. They lay eggs continuously throughout the year. Now what is the difference between these two? So this you have to understand. Here birds which are living in the nature or wild, they lay eggs only during a specific season. Seasonally they lay eggs. But birds which are present in the captivity or in the poultry farm, they are made to lay the eggs. I have used a word here, made to lay the eggs throughout the year. So this is because of, this is for commercial exploitation by the man. It is just a commercial exploitation. Commercial exploitation. This is only for the purpose of a commercial exploitation by the man. By the man or by the, for the welfare of the man. Okay, so that this process is not associated with the reproduction. So this is what I wanted to clear. Now here the birds which are laying eggs in a specific season, which is associated with the reproduction, and the birds which are present in a captivity or in a poultry farm which lay eggs throughout the year, it's not associated with the reproduction, and it is just associated with the commercial exploitation for the welfare of the human being. Okay, it means it's not a reproduction. This is the process of a reproduction, that is in case of a birds. Okay, so now we have understood about the activity, reproductive activity in case of these egg laying animals, and the example which is mentioned, organisms which are used as an example in your textbook is birds. So that we have quoted an example here. And when we come to these mammals, so in case of mammals, there are different orders, different group of mammals. Some mammals are called as placental mammals. Some mammals are called as placental mammals. Some are called as placental mammals. Okay, so it means they have a structure, physical structure called as placenta, that you will study in the next lesson. That placenta is responsible for nourishing the developing embryo. So, and such animals which have, such mammals which have got placenta are called as placental mammals, and other set of mammals are called as marsupials, and another group of mammals are called as egg-laying mammals. So like this there are various types of mammals. So now we have to concentrate on the reproductive cycle of only placental mammals. In case of placental mammals, the reproductive cycle occurs. The reproductive cycle of placental mammals are of two different types. One is called as menstrual cycle, and another one is called as a estrous cycle. So these are the two different types of reproductive cycles in case of a placental mammals. Please understand what I am saying here. Placental mammals have two different types of reproductive cycles. One is called as a menstrual cycle and another one is called as a estrous cycle, and which is very, very important for your PUC examination for 2 marks. Okay, regularly question will be asked in the examination. Okay, now write the differences between menstrual cycle and estrous cycle. Now what you have to write in the examination is menstrual cycle occurs in primate mammals. It occurs in case of a primate mammals. So this word is sufficient. You should write this word. So in case of a primate mammals, so this cyclical changes takes place. Okay, the cyclical changes which takes place in the reproductive system of only primate mammals is called as menstrual cycle, and that reproductive cycle which takes place in non-primate mammals is called as estrous cycle. The reproductive cycle which takes place in non-primate mammals is called as estrous cycle. Okay, and then you should know some of the examples here. Apes. Okay, examples for this menstrual cycle is apes. In case of apes, so this menstrual cycle takes place, and in case of monkeys, so, and another one is called as a human being. Okay, so in these organisms, these are all called as mammals, primate mammals, and in which the menstrual cycle takes place. And examples for estrous cycle is cows. So these are all called as non-primates. Cows, okay, dogs, deers, okay, tigers. So these are all various examples in which the reproductive cycle is called as estrous cycle, since these are all non-primate mammals. I hope you are all understanding the differences between menstrual cycle and estrous cycle. So these are all placental mammals. Primates and non-primates are called as placental mammals. Okay, in these placental mammals, the cyclical changes takes place. In different reproductive parts like ovaries and accessory reproductive ducts, and in the hormones cyclical changes takes place. Those cyclical changes are called as reproductive cycles, and these reproductive cycles are classified into two types. One is called as a menstrual cycle and another one is called as a estrous cycle. Okay, so here you should mention the word. In case of primates, menstrual cycle is present. In case of non-primates, estrous cycle is present, and these are all examples. These are examples for okay, so this menstrual cycle and estrous cycle. Okay, so this is about reproductive behavior in some organisms. And one more, as per your syllabus, you have to understand that okay, some organisms which can reproduce throughout their reproductive phase. Okay, they reproduce, they breed continuously. Okay, throughout their reproductive phase are called as continuous breeders. So you should understand about two important categories of animals. One is called as continuous breeders, and another one is called as seasonal breeders. Next one is called as a seasonal breeders. Okay, now what are the differences between these two? Okay, continuous breeders and seasonal breeders, and which is also important for your PUC examination for 2 marks. In case of continuous breeders, continuous, if you see the word, you can understand these organisms when they attain, particular animals, these animals, when they attain the reproductive age, the reproductive phase, they start reproducing, they breed. These animals, they breed continuously, they breed continuously throughout their reproductive period. Throughout their reproductive period. Okay, so they breed continuously throughout their reproductive period or reproductive phase. Okay, till completion of their reproductive phase, they are go on breeding. Okay, irrespective of any season, therefore they are called as a continuous breeders. And these animals, they breed, they reproduce, they breed or they reproduce only during favorable seasons. Favorable seasons. And these animals are called as seasonal breeders. Okay, they breed or they reproduce only during favorable seasons are called as seasonal breeders. And those animals which can breed or which can reproduce continuously throughout their reproductive phase are called as continuous breeders. So like this you can differentiate between these continuous breeders and seasonal breeders, and which is also very, very important from the point of examination. Okay, so this you have to understand. And continuous breeders, examples for continuous breeders is many mammals. Many mammals are the examples. And regarding this seasonal breeders, okay, some fishes and amphibians. So for seasonal breeders, some fishes and amphibians. So these amphibians, they breed only during particular season, so therefore they are called as seasonal breeders. So like this we have to understand about the differences between continuous breeders and seasonal breeders. Okay, so with this some reproductive cycles in different group of organisms is over. Okay, so next one is we have to understand about events of sexual reproduction. Events of sexual reproduction. So as per your syllabus, you have to understand about events of sexual reproduction. Events of sexual reproduction. Okay, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಸೆಕ್ಸುವಲ್ ರಿಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆದರೆ ಸೊ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ರೀತಿಯ ಆರ್ಗನಿಸಮ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತವೆ. ಆ್ಯನಿಮಲ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ಓಕೆ, ಸೆಕ್ಸುವಲ್ ರಿಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಇಟ್ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಇನ್ ಎ ಡೆಫಿನಿಟ್ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇನ್ ಎ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ ಸೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್. What are the different sequences? So first one is formation of a gametes. Formation of a gametes, it means male and female gametes. Okay, so this is one of the important stages of a sexual reproduction. Okay, without formation of gametes, no sexual reproduction takes place. So therefore formation of gametes is one of the important event in the sexual reproduction of an individual. And afterwards the gametes must be transferred. So that is nothing but a transfer of gametes. Gametes must be transferred. So male gamete has to transfer to female gamete in all organisms which takes place. And after the transfer of a gametes, Next, fusion of gametes. Fusion of gametes should take place once if the gamete is fused and it results in the formation of a structure known as zygote. Zygote will be formed. After the formation of the zygote, so zygote develops into structure known as embryo. There is a formation of embryo. Okay, embryo development of next one is called as development of embryo. Development of embryo into different stages, and finally it leads to birth. So these are all events or the process which takes place in the sexually reproducing organisms. Okay, but all these events we can categorically classify, or we can divide into three different groups for our convenience. For our convenience, we can divide all these events into three events only. What are those three events? Now let us understand one by one. So here very important step in the life of sexually reproducing organisms is fusion of a gametes. Fusion of a gametes is the important event in the life of sexually reproducing organisms. Okay, so now these events which takes place before the fusion of a gametes and these events which takes place after the fusion of the gametes. Okay, so look, these events takes place before the fusion of a gametes, these events takes place after the fusion of the gametes, so that we can take it as a standard one. Fusion of a gametes can be taken as a standard one. So therefore we can divide all these events into three different groups. One is called as pre-fertilization. Pre-fertilization, structure and events. Pre-fertilization, structure and events. The events which takes place, fertilization. So you know that fertilization is nothing but fusion of a gametes. When fusion of gametes takes place, that is what we call it as a fertilization. And events which takes place before fertilization are called as pre. Pre means before. The events which takes place before fertilization are all called pre-fertilization events. And the next one is fertilization. Fertilization means the fusion of a gametes. Fusion of male and female gametes is called as a fertilization. And the next one is called as these events. The zygote develops into embryo. Later further development of the embryo takes place. All these events which takes place after the fusion of a gametes or after fertilization, therefore we can call it as a post-fertilization events. Post-fertilization events. Just see here, all the events which takes place in the life of sexually reproducing organisms can be divided into only three categories or three groups. So which are pre-fertilization, structure and events, next fertilization, and another one is called as a post-fertilization, structure and events. Okay, these are all three events in the life of sexually reproducing organisms. Okay, so in the previous examinations, the question has asked regarding this, mention the events of sexual reproduction and so then the answer, expected answer is so these are the three steps we have to write. Okay, now let us discuss each one in detail. Okay, pre-fertilization, structure and events we have to discuss, fertilization, then post-fertilization, structure and events we have to discuss in detail. Okay, let us discuss these events in detail one by one. Okay, pre-fertilization, events. Now look, the events of sexual reproduction, you please see the definition. How do you define this? The events of sexual reproduction, the events of sexual reproduction prior to the fusion of gametes, prior to the fusion of gametes, is called pre-fertilization events. Okay, so this is the definition for pre-fertilization events. The events of sexual reproduction which takes place before the fusion of gametes is called as pre-fertilization events. Okay, the events which takes place before the fusion of a gametes is called as pre-fertilization events. Now, this pre-fertilization events, it is divided into two sub-events. It has two sub-events. It has two sub-events. What are the changes takes place here? What are the events which takes place before the process of fertilization? Okay, so those we can call them as a sub-events. So now, before fertilization, just understand, okay, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಆಗೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮೊದಲು ಓಕೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನು ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, ಏನು ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ ನಡಿಬೋದು ಒಂದು ಸೆಕ್ಸುವಲಿ ರಿಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ಗನಿಸಮಲ್ಲಿ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಆಗೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮೊದಲು ಏನೇನು ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ? ಸೊ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಪ್ರೀ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಈವೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ ಟೂ ಸಬ್ ಈವೆಂಟ್ಸ್. One is called as gametogenesis. Gametogenesis is one of the events of sub-event of pre-fertilization events, gametogenesis. And another one is called as gamete transfer. Gamete transfer. Gamete transfer. So these two processes which takes place before fertilization can occur in an individual. Okay, so now let us understand. So I hope you are following this gametogenesis and gamete transfer. Okay, ಈಗ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಆಗೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮೊದಲು ಒಂದು ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಆಗೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮೊದಲು ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನಂತ ಈಗ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿಗ. ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ರೆಡಿ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ಆರ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಬಾಡಿ. ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ಡ್, ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಡ್ by sequential cell division or by sequential process. So once if the gametes are formed in the body of a male individual as well as in the body of a female individual, those gametes must be transferred, okay, by the help of some media. Okay, so that process is known as gamete transfer. So that here before fertilization these two process takes place. One is called as a gametogenesis and another one is called as a gamete transfer. Now let us understand what is this gametogenesis process. Okay, now let's study in detail about this gametogenesis. What is the meaning of this gametogenesis process? What is gametogenesis? Okay, now look, gametogenesis. So gametogenesis, it is a process of formation of haploid male and female gametes. Okay, it is a process of formation of a haploid male and haploid female gametes. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿದೆಯಾ? ಮೇಲ್ ಮತ್ತು ಫೀಮೇಲ್ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ ಆ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ನ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟೋಜೆನೆಸಿಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ನಾವು sometimes some of you may get a question in your mind, what are these gametes? Gametes ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು ಸರ್, ನಮಗೆ ಅದು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು ಇಲ್ಲಿಗ. ಓಕೆ, So these gametes are haploid sexual cells. Haploid sexual cells. In the textbook they have just mentioned haploid cells, but I have added a word sexual cells because which are formed only during the process of a sexual reproduction. So therefore I mentioned the word here haploid sexual cells. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಈ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಈಗ. ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ದಿ haploid cells. Haploid cells which are involved in the process of a sexual reproduction are called as a gametes. Okay, so now this is the definition for gametogenesis, and now with this you can understand the meaning of a gametes also. And next one is types of gametes. How many types of gametes are there? Types of gametes. So we can classify gametes into different types. Suppose if I ask you a question, what are the different types of a gametes? We will answer that there are two types of a gametes. One is called as a male gamete and another one is called as a female gamete. Okay, it's right. Male and female gametes are two different types of a gametes. But here types of gametes based on the similarities. Based on the similarity or dissimilarity. Based on the similarity and dissimilarity, or on the basis of morphology, or on the basis of morphology, or on the basis of a appearance. On the basis of appearance, we can classify gametes into two different types. Okay, we can classify gametes into two different types based on their similarity and dissimilarities. Otherwise, on the basis of their morphology or on the basis of their appearance, we can classify gametes into two different types. One is called as homogametes. One is called as a homogametes. So this is one of the type of a gametes, and another one is called as a heterogametes. Homogametes, and another one is called as heterogametes. So now let us understand these. What are these homogametes? So here you can see the word homo means similar. These are the gametes. Okay, here male and female, male gamete and female gametes. Male and female gametes are similar in their appearance. Similar in their appearance are called homogametes. So ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನ್ದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಸರಿ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಇದನ್ನು. ಓಕೆ, ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ಹೋಮೋಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅಥವಾ ರೈಟ್ ದ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ಹೋಮೋಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಹೆಟರೋಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕೂಡ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಈ ಮೇಲ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಫೀಮೇಲ್ ಗ್ಯಾಮೇಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಶಬ್ದ ಬಳಸಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಓಕೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರಿ. ಮೇಲ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಫೀಮೇಲ್ ಗ್ಯಾಮೇಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಸಿಮಿಲರ್ ಇನ್ ದೇರ್ ಅಪಿಯರೆನ್ಸ್. And such gametes are called as homogametes. For example, similar in their appearance means they are similar in their size. Okay, sometimes both male and female gametes are similar in their size, or sometimes both have flagella. ಓಕೆ, ಈ ರೀತಿ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಒಳಗಡೆಗೆ ಸಿಮಿಲಾರಿಟಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ ಅದರೊಳಗಡೆಗೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಇಂಪಾಸಿಬಲ್ ಟು ಡಿಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ವಿಷ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ಮೇಲ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಫೀಮೇಲ್ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್. ಇವೆರಡು ಮೇಲು ಫೀಮೇಲ್ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ ಒಳಗಡೆಗೆ ಅವನ್ನ ಡಿಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ವಿಷ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ, ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಷಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂಥ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ನ ನಾವು ಹೋಮೋಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ದೀಸ್ ಹೋಮೋಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಫೌಂಡ್ ಇನ್. ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಹೋಮೋಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಫೌಂಡ್ ಇನ್ some algae like cladophora. So this is an example which is mentioned in your textbook. So therefore, which is important from the point of a NEET. You should remember homogametes are found in some algae like cladophora. Okay, so this is about homogametes. And next type of gametes are called as heterogametes. So now hetero means different. So here male and female gametes male and female gametes are morphologically different or distinct, or morphologically distinct. Distinct means different, and such gametes are called as heterogametes. Okay, here male gamete is different, female gamete is different in their morphology. Therefore I told you already, on the basis of morphology or on the basis of appearance, okay, or on the basis of similarity dissimilarity, so these gametes are classified into different types. Okay, so that here heterogametes means male and female gametes are morphologically distinct. Okay, and these gametes are found in organisms like some other algae. So these are also found in some algae, like okay, so that algae like fucus, and also in case of a human being. In case of human being, these kind of gametes are present. Okay, so these are all two important types of gametes based on their appearance or based on their morphology. Okay, when here male gamete and female gametes are different here in their appearance. Okay, if you see the gametes, you can understand that which is a male and which is a female. Okay, either they may be different in their size, different in their shape. So like this you can understand. Okay, so when male and female gametes are distinct morphologically, here in this case, okay, male gamete is called male gamete. Okay, when they are different. Okay, in case of heterogametes, male gamete is called antherozoids or sperm. In some organisms they are called as antherozoids, and in some organisms they are called as sperms. And female gametes are called as okay, ovum or egg. So like this we can name when the gametes are different from one to another. So this is very, very important concept regarding so this different types of gametes. This you should know regarding the examination, and in the examination they may ask it for 2 marks. Okay, write the differences between homogametes and heterogametes. Okay, homogametes means here male and female gametes are similar in their appearance. Okay, here you have to mention this male and female gametes. Suppose if you write simply gametes are similar, okay, the answer may become incomplete. Okay, gametes are similar means sometimes if you take 2 eggs, they are definitely 2 eggs of a particular species, they definitely become similar. Okay, 2 sperms, if you take 2 sperms, okay, of a particular species, they are definitely similar, so that the answer may not become correct. So you have to mention clearly male and female gametes are similar in their appearance. Okay, so this kind of gametes are called as homogametes, and these homogametes are also called as isogametes also. Okay, we have already studied in first PUC. So these are also called as isogametes. Okay, because iso means same. So these gametes are similar in their appearance. Therefore, they are called as homogametes or isogametes. So this is about different types of gametes, based on their appearance or based on their morphology. Okay, and let us move to the next concept. So now we have discussed about gametogenesis. Okay, we are still discussing about this process only, and next one is, so to produce these gametes, where are these gametes, how are these gametes produced? Okay, for the formation of a gametes, organisms must have the 6 organs. In the 6 organs, these gametes are produced. Okay, so for that you have to understand how these 6 organs are distributed in the different organisms. Okay, that is nothing but a sexuality in organisms. Sexuality in organisms. ಓಕೆ, ಇದನ್ನು ಕನ್ನಡದೊಳಗಡೆಗೆ ಜೀವಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಲೈಂಗಿಕತ್ವ ಅಂದರೆ ದ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಎ ಸೆಕ್ಸ್, ವೆದರ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅ ಮೇಲ್ ಆರ್ ಫೀಮೇಲ್. Okay, we can name them male individual, female individual. Or sometimes what happens is some animals, some plants will have both the sex organs in them. So this is what we can say the distribution of a sex organs. Our distribution of sex organs na sexuality in organisms anta karitivi idakke. Okay, now let us understand sexuality in plants. Sexuality in plants. Okay, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಒಳಗಡೆಗೆ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಈ ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಟ್ ಒಳಗಡೆಗೆ ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನ್, ಮೇಲ್ ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಎರಡೂ ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನ್ಸ್ ಒಂದೇ ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಟ್ ಒಳಗಡೆಗೆ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ. ಅದನ್ನು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸೆಕ್ಸುವಾಲಿಟಿ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಟರ್ಮ್ಸ್ನ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಮೊದಲನೇದೇನಂತಂದರೆ, ಸೊ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ homothallic, very important from the point of examination. Homothallic plants. Homothallic plants are monoecious. Monoecious plants. So here you have to understand. Okay, here homothallic or monoecious, these terms are used to describe the bisexual condition in plants. These terms, these two terms, okay, homothallic or otherwise monoecious, these terms are used to describe or denote, describe bisexual condition, bisexual condition in plants. ಓಕೆ, ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿದೆ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೆ? ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಸಾರಿ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಬಿಡಿ. ಹೋಮೋಥ್ಯಾಲಿಕ್ ಅಂದ್ರೂ ಒಂದೇ, ಮೊನೋಶಿಯಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಒಂದೇ. ಸೊ ಈ ಒಂದು ಎರಡು ಶಬ್ದಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ಯಾಕೆ ಬಳಸ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ಟು ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ದ ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಟ್ ವಿಚ್ ಈಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ಬೋತ್ ದ ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನ್ ಇನ್ ಇಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ಬೈಸೆಕ್ಸುವಲ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ. ಬೈಸೆಕ್ಸುವಲ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ದ ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಟ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಫ್ಲವರ್ which has got both male and female sex organs in it are called as bisexual individuals or bisexual plants. ಓಕೆ, ಎರಡೂ ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನ್ಸ್ ಒಂದೇ ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಟ್ ಬಾಡಿ ಒಳಗಡೆಗಿದ್ರೆ, ಒಂದೇ ಫ್ಲವರ್ ಒಳಗಡೆಗಿದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಬೈಸೆಕ್ಸುವಲ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಆ ಬೈಸೆಕ್ಸುವಲ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ನ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಯಾವುದಂತಂದರೆ ಹೋಮೋಥ್ಯಾಲಿಕ್. ಹೋಮೋ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಸೇಮ್, ಥ್ಯಾಲಿ ಸೊ ದ ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಟ್ ಬಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ, ನಿಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಫೋರ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಟ್ ಬಾಡಿ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಗಾಟ್ ಬೋತ್ ದ ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನ್ಸ್, ದೇರ್ ಫೋರ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ಎ ಹೋಮೋಥ್ಯಾಲಿಕ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ. ಓಕೆ, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ ಈಸ್, ಸೊ ಇದರೊಳಗಡೆಗೆ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು ನಿಮಗೆ. ಈಗ ಒಂದೇ ಫ್ಲವರಲ್ಲಿ ಎರಡೂ ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನ್ಸ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದರೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಬೈಸೆಕ್ಸುವಲ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಅಥವಾ ಹೋಮೋಥ್ಯಾಲಿಕ್ ಆರ್ ಮೊನೋಶಿಯಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ ಈಸ್ ಹೆಟಿರೋಥ್ಯಾಲಿಕ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಮೋ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಹೆಟಿರೋಥ್ಯಾಲಿಕ್. Heterothallic. Heterothallic plants, okay, are dioecious. Dioecious condition or dioecious plants. Okay, these terms heterothallic as well as dioecious are used to describe. These terms are used. These terms are used to describe, ಏನು ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದಿಲ್ಲ ಈಗ? ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ unisexual condition in plants. Unisexual condition in plants. Okay, I think I hope you are following the differences between these two. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಮೋಥ್ಯಾಲಿಕ್ ಈ ಒಂದು ಶಬ್ದಗಳನ್ನು, ಹೋಮೋಥ್ಯಾಲಿಕ್ ಮೊನೋಶಿಯಸ್ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಶಬ್ದಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ಬೈಸೆಕ್ಸುವಲ್ನ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಬಳಸ್ತೀವಿ ಈಗ. ಓಕೆ, ಹೆಟೆರೋಥ್ಯಾಲಿಕ್ ಆರ್ ಡೈಶಿಯಸ್ ಶಬ್ದಗಳನ್ನು ಓಕೆ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಟು ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ದ ಯುನಿಸೆಕ್ಸುವಲ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಇನ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಸ್. ಇಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಯುನಿಸೆಕ್ಸುವಲ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ದ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಗಾಟ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಒನ್ ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನ್. ಆ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಒಳಗಡೆಗೆ ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನ್ ಇತ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಅಂಥ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ನ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ನಾವು ಈ ಶಬ್ದಗಳನ್ನು ಬಳಸಿರ್ತೀವಿ ಈಗ. ಈಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯುನಿಸೆಕ್ಸುವಲ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದನ್ನು ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದೇ ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನ್, ಐದರ್ ಮೇಲ್ ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನ್ ಈಸ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಆರ್ ಫೀಮೇಲ್ ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನ್ ಈಸ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್. ಆ ರೀತಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ನ ಯುನಿಸೆಕ್ಸುವಲ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಆ ಒಂದು ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ನ ಓಕೆ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಹೆಟೆರೋಥ್ಯಾಲಿಕ್ ಅಥವಾ ಡೈಶಿಯಸ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಈಗ ನಿಮಗೆ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಏನು ಬರ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ಯಾವ ಒಂದು ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಒಳಗಡೆಗೆ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಯೂನಿಸೆಕ್ಸುವಲ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ದ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಎ ಮೇಲ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಫ್ಲವರ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಎ ಮೇಲ್ ಫ್ಲವರ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅನದರ್ ಒನ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಎ ಫೀಮೇಲ್ ಫ್ಲವರ್. ಈ ರೀತಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಯಾವ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದರೆ, ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ example for this heterothalic plants. One is called as a papaya plant. Papaya plant is one of the examples for this, and next one is called as, next example is called date palm. Date palm. So you should remember these examples, and which are very very important from the point of a NEET. And here the examples for so this homothalic plants, one is called as a coconut plant, and another one is called as a cucurbits. So these are the plants which exhibit so this bisexual condition. There are so many other plants, but these are the examples which you have to understand as per your syllabus. Okay, so this is what the distribution of a sex organs in case of a plants. Sexuality, I am talking about sexuality in plants. ಓಕೆ. ಸೊ ಇದರೊಳಗಡೆಗೆ ಒಂದು ಹೋಮೋಥ್ಯಾಲಿಕ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಸ್, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಹೆಟೆರೋಥ್ಯಾಲಿಕ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಹೋಮೋಥ್ಯಾಲಿಕ್ ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಮೊನೋಶಿಯಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕೂಡ ಬಳಸ್ಬೋದು, ಹೆಟೆರೋಥ್ಯಾಲಿಕ್ ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಡೈಶಿಯಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕೂಡ ಬಳಸ್ಬೋದು. ಓಕೆ, ಇವೆರಡೂ ಶಬ್ದಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ಯಾಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ಓನ್ಲಿ ಟು ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಬೈಸೆಕ್ಸುವಲ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಆ್ಯಸ್ ವೆಲ್ ಆಸ್ ಯೂನಿಸೆಕ್ಸುವಲ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್. ಈಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಏನು ಬರುತ್ತಂದರೆ, ಯೂನಿಸೆಕ್ಸುವಲ್ ಇದ್ದಾಗ, ಓಕೆ, ವೆನ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಗಾಟ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಒನ್ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನ್, whether male sex organ is present or female sex organ is present. Okay, suppose if only male sex organ is present in a flower or in a plant, what the term, scientific term we can use for such plants? So such plants are called as staminate. Okay, such plants are called as staminate. So that it indicates that only one sex organ, only male sex organ is present. Okay, male sex organ is present. Male sex organ is present in a plant body. Okay, female sex organ is not there. And anta ಒಂದು ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ನ ಸ್ಟಾಮಿನೇಟ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. Similarly, if only female sex organ is distributed in the plant body, then that is nothing but a pistillate. Pistillate ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಶಬ್ದ ಬಳಸ್ತೀವಿ ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೆ? If only female sex organ is present. Only female sex organ is present, then such plant is called as a pistillate plant anta kartare idike. Okay, so based on the presence of particular sex organ, we can classify unisexual plants into two different types. One is called as a staminate and another one is called as a pistillate. So this is about sexuality in case of plants. Okay, and similarly let us move to sexuality in case of animals. Sexuality. Now this is about sexuality in plants. Okay, so this is about sexuality in plants, and let us discuss about sexuality in animals. Sexuality in animals. So here animals can be classified into two different types. One is called as unisexual animals. What is the meaning of these unisexual animals? Those animals which have only one particular reproductive organs. Either male sex organ is present or male reproductive organ is present in the body of an animal, or female reproductive organ is present in the body of an animal, and such animals are called as unisexual animals. Okay, definition everything baribodu ನೀವು ಈಗ. Those animals which have either male or female reproductive organs, either male or female reproductive organs are called unisexual animals. Unisexual animals. Okay, so ಈ ರೀತಿ ನಾವು ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಇಲ್ಲಿಗ ಯಾವುದನ್ನ ಯೂನಿಸೆಕ್ಸುವಲ್ ಎನಿಮಲ್ಸ್ನ. ಆ ಯಾವ ಒಂದು ಎನಿಮಲ್ ಬಾಡಿ ಒಳಗಡೆಗೆ ಒಂದೇ ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ ಅಂಥ ಎನಿಮಲ್ನ ಯೂನಿಸೆಕ್ಷುವಲ್ ಎನಿಮಲ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಇದನ್ನು ಸೆಕ್ಷುವಲಿ ಡೈಮಾರ್ಫಿಕ್ ಎನಿಮಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕೂಡ ಕರಿಬೋದು. ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬುಕ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೆಕ್ಷುವಲಿ ಡೈಮಾರ್ಫಿಕ್ ಎನಿಮಲ್ಸ್ ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೆ? ಸೊ ದೋಸ್ ಎನಿಮಲ್ಸ್ which have got only one sex organ or only one reproductive organ are called as unisexual animals or sexually dimorphic animals. So here examples, there are so many examples. Even human being is also unisexual animal, but as per your syllabus you have to understand the example cockroach. Cockroach is an example for this unisexual animals, because male cockroach is different, female cockroach is different, and we can differentiate between the two. So therefore it is nothing but a unisexual animal. And next category of animals are called as bisexual animals. Okay, but in case of animals, instead of using a bisexual, we can use the word hermaphrodites. Please remember, very important from the point of examination. What are hermaphrodites? Give example ಅಂತ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಸಾರಿ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನ್ದಲ್ಲಿ. ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ hermaphrodites? ಗಿವ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಅಂತ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಈ ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ಬೇಕು ನೀವು. ಇಲ್ಲಿಗ hermaphrodites. ಓಕೆ, ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ hermaphrodites? ದೋಸ್ ಎನಿಮಲ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೆ ನಿಮಗೆ? ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನ್ ಆ ಎನಿಮಲ್ ಬಾಡಿ ಒಳಗಡೆಗೆ ಇತ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಯೂನಿಸೆಕ್ಷುವಲ್ ಎನಿಮಲ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾಗಿ. ಬಟ್ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಪ್ರಾಣಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಎರಡೂ ರಿಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಆರ್ಗನ್ಸ್ ಒಂದೇ ಎನಿಮಲ್ ಬಾಡಿ ಒಳಗಡೆಗೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಅಂಥ ಪ್ರಾಣಿಗಳನ್ನು hermaphrodites ಅಂತ ಕರಿಬೇಕು. ದೋಸ್ ಎನಿಮಲ್ಸ್ which have both male and female, ಕ್ಲಿಯರಾಗಿ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ಬೇಕು ಇದನ್ನು, male and female reproductive organs are called bisexual animals or hermaphrodites. Okay, are called hermaphrodites. ಈ ರೀತಿ ನಾವು ನೇಮಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಈ ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್ ಬರೆದ್ರೆ 1 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನ್ ಒಳಗಡೆಗೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ಸ್ ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ PUC ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನ್ದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಸಾರಿ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಇದನ್ನು. ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ hermaphrodites? ಗಿವ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಪಾಂಜಸ್. ಸೊ ಸ್ಪಾಂಜಸ್ ಆರ್ ದಿ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿಸ್ hermaphrodites. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ another one is called as a tapeworm. Tapeworm is an example which belongs to phylum Platyhelminths. You know that very well. And another one is called as a earthworm. Earthworm is also hermaphrodite. And next one is called as a leech. Okay, so these are all various examples for hermaphrodites. You please understand. Okay, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ, ಈ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಾಣಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದೇ ಎನಿಮಲ್ ಬಾಡಿ ಒಳಗಡೆಗೆ ಎರಡು ಸೆಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತವೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಎರಡು ಮೇಲ್ ಫೀಮೇಲ್. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಕ್ಲಿಯರಾಗಿ ಬರಿಬೇಕು ನೀವು ಇಲ್ಲಿಗ. those animals which have both male and female reproductive organs. ಓಕೆ, ಬರೀ ಬೋತ್ ಬರೋದು ಮೇಲ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಫೀಮೇಲ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ ರಾಂಗ್ ಕೂಡ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು. ಎರಡು ಮೇಲ್ ಫೀಮೇಲ್ ರಿಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಆರ್ಗನ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಣಿನ, ಆ ಪ್ರಾಣಿನ ಅಂತ ಕರಿಬೇಕು hermaphrodite ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಆ ಒಂದು ಎನಿಮಲ್ಸ್ನ hermaphrodites ಅಂತ ಕರಿಬೇಕು. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ examination. Okay, so this is about sexuality in case of plants as well as sexuality in case of animals. I hope you are all understanding the different concepts. Okay, so in gametogenesis process we have to understand some more other aspects. ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದೆ, gametogenesis ಆಗಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ process of formation of a male and female gametes is called as gametogenesis. ಓಕೆ, ಆ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ನಾನು ಆವಾಗಲೇ ಹೇಳಿದೆ, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಎ ರೆಡಿ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್. ಯಾವುದು ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ರೆಡಿ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಬಾಡಿ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಎ ಸೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಈವೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ದ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಎ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸಮ್ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಆ ಒಂದು ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟೋಜೆನಿಸಿಸ್ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್. ಅದನ್ನು ಈಗ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟೋಜೆನಿಸಿಸ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಮೇನ್ಲಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಆನ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ ಲೈಕ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಡಿವಿಷನ್ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್. ಒಂದು ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಡಿವಿಷನ್, ಒಂದು ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಆ ಸೆಲ್ ಡಿವಿಷನ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಓಕೆ, ಐದರ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಎ ಮೇಲ್ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ ಆರ್ ಫೀಮೇಲ್ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ ಟು ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಎ a parent cell from the mother cell, gamete mother cell, we can call it as a gamete mother cell. A gamete mother cell in the ultimate gamete, functional gamete formation of different levels of cell division takes place. So that you have to understand regarding the process of a cell division during gamete formation. Cell division during gamete formation. Cell division during gamete formation. Cell division during a gamete formation. ನಾನು ಯಾಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಇದನ್ನ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ ನೀವು ಈಗ. ಒಂದು ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು, ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದರೆ cell division is a very important process that you will study in human reproduction. Okay, but now just you have to understand how this what type of cell division takes place. Okay, gametes in all heterogametic species are two types. ಈ gametes ಏನಿದಾವಲ್ಲ, gametes in all heterogametic individuals or species, heterogametic species are of two types. Are of two types, you know that very well. Gametes in case of a heterogametic species are of two types. What are the two different types? One is called as a male gamete and another one is called as a female gamete. Okay, so these are the two different types of a gametes which are produced in case of a heterogametic individuals or in case of a heterogametic species. Okay, and these gametes, male, either male gamete or female gamete, but both the gametes are here, gametes are haploid. Gametes are haploid cells. I told you already the meaning of gametes or definition for the gametes. Whatever gamete it may be, either it is a male gamete or female gamete, it will be or it must be, okay, heterogamete only. It is haploid only. Haploid means which can carry only one set of chromosomes. Okay, now question arises here, suppose if the parent body is haploid, parent body is haploid. You please understand, this is very very important term regarding ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನ್ಸ್. ನೀಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನ್ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಂಗೆ ಇದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಇದೆ. ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ ಬಾಡಿನೇ ಹೆಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಡ್ ಇತ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಡ್ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೆಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಡ್ ಇರ್ತವೆ, ಒಂದು ವೇಳೆ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ ಬಾಡಿನೇ ಹೆಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಡ್ ಇತ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ಓಕೆ, ದೇ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ದಿಯರ್ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್. ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಬೈ ಎ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಡಿವಿಷನ್ known as mitosis. Here gamete formation takes place by a cell division known as mitosis. This is what you have to understand. Okay, mitosis cell division ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಯಾವುದರೊಳಗಡೆಗೆ, if parent body itself is a haploid, then gamete formation takes place by a specific cell division known as mitosis cell division. Okay, suppose if this process takes place in case of a some fungi, so it takes place in case of a fungi and in algae, okay, in these lower organisms, algae, and another one is in case of bryophytes. In these organisms which you have already studied in case of a first PUC, okay, your parent plant body itself is haploid, in which what happens, okay, gamete formation takes place by mitosis. But in case of complex organisms like pteridophytes, in case of pteridophytes, gymnosperms and angiosperms, in these organisms, okay, pteridophytes, gymnosperms and angiosperms, these are all complex plants, and also most of the animals in almost all animals, okay, main plant body or the parent body is diploid. Okay, so now I think some of you may be knowing about the haploid and diploid, and some may not be knowing about it. The presence of one set of chromosome in a cell is called as a haploid. Presence of two sets of chromosomes is called as a diploid. Okay, which you have already studied in first PUC. Okay, haploid ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ one set of chromosomes ಇರ್ತದೆ. One particular chromosome is represented once, is called as a haploid. The particular chromosome is represented twice, so that is nothing but a diploid condition ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. So in case of these organisms, pteridophytes, gymnosperms, angiosperms and most of the animals, here parent body is diploid, so that what happens here, the cell division takes place. The kind of cell division here, in this case, the cell division takes place is called as meiosis. Meiosis takes place. Meiosis is a kind of a cell division. We have already studied. Okay, in these organisms, meiosis or reduction division takes place for the formation of a gametes. Okay, so ಇವೆರಡರ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ನೀವೇನು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದರೆ, in case of the plants or organisms where parent body is haploid, in which gamete formation takes place by a mitotic division, and in case of organisms where parent body is diploid, here gamete formation takes place by a cell division known as meiosis or reduction division. Meiosis ಅಂದರೂ ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್, reduction division ಅಂದರೂ ಕೂಡ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್. ಓಕೆ, and the cell which can undergo meiosis, the cell which undergoes meiosis, the cell which can undergo meiosis for the formation of gametes are called as meiocytes. Please remember, sometimes in the examination they may ask a question, what are meiocytes? Okay, so the meiocytes are the cells which can undergo a process of meiosis are called as meiocytes, and these meiocytes are found only in case of a diploid organisms but not in case of a haploid organisms. Okay, so in this way the cell division takes place during the process of a formation of a gametes. What you have to understand here, mainly the parent body, whether it is haploid or diploid, that you have to think. Suppose if the parent body itself is haploid, then gamete formation takes place by mitotic division, and which is present in case of a lower organisms like fungi, algae, bryophytes and some monerans. But in case of higher plants like pteridophytes, gymnosperms and angiosperms, and also in case of animals, okay, cell division, the kind of cell division is meiosis because parent body is okay, that is diploid. Since parent body is diploid, meiotic division takes place. Okay, so why this meiotic division takes place? There is a reason. When meiotic division takes place and the resulting cells are haploid and they carry only half of the chromosomes of their parent cell, so when the fusion takes place, okay, same number of chromosomes in that particular species is maintained. ಓಕೆ, ಈಗ ಒಂದು ವೇಳೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಿಯಾಸಿಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಏನಂತಂದರೆ, ಯಾವಾಗ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತಾ, ಓಕೆ, ಆ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಪೀಸಿಸ್ದು ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಕ್ರೋಮೋಸೋಮ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಮೇಂಟೈನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಿಯಾಸಿಸ್ ಡಿವಿಷನ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಲ್ ರಿಗಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ದ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆರ್ ಗೆಮೆಟೋಜೆನೆಸಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ events which takes place before the fertilization process. ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟೋಜೆನೆಸಿಸ್ ಆಯಿತು, ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟೋಜೆನೆಸಿಸ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಯಿತು ಇಲ್ಲಿಗ. ಓಕೆ, ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬುಕ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಒಂದು ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಸ್ಪೀಸಿಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಎನಿಮಲ್ಸ್ ವೇರ್ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ರೋಮೋಸೋಮ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಡಿಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಡ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಎ ಕ್ರೋಮೋಸೋಮ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಎ ಹ್ಯಾಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಡ್ ಸೆಲ್. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ನೀವು ಕೇರ್ಫುಲ್ಲಾಗಿ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾವುದು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನ್ಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಂಗೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಇದು ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬುಕ್ ಒಳಗಡೆಗೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಕ್ರೋಮೋಸೋಮ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ meiocytes and gametes, number of chromosomes in meiocytes. Meiocytes are the gamete mother cells. Chromosomes in the meiocytes and also in gametes ante ಇದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ, and also in gametes. Okay, so here in your textbook they have given mentioned examples. Okay, so you should know this: serial number, next name of the animals, name of the animals or organism. Okay, number of chromosomes, number of chromosomes in meiocytes and number of chromosomes in gametes. ಸೊ ಇವನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನೀವು ಓದ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ನೀಟು CET ಒಳಗಡೆ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ನಂಬರ್ 1 ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್, ನಾವು ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ ತೊಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಓಕೆ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಟೋಟಲ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ರೋಮೋಸೋಮ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಎ ಮಿಯೋಸೈಟ್ಸ್. ಮಿಯೋಸೈಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ದಿ ಡಿಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಡ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಬೈ ವಿಚ್ ದೇರ್ ಈಸ್ ಎ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಎ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಆರ್ ದ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಡಿಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಡ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಗೋ ಮಿಯಾಸಿಸ್ ಆರ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಎಸ್ ಎ ಮಿಯಾಸೈಟ್ಸ್. ಆ ಒಂದು ಸೆಲ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಮಿಯಾಟಿಕ್ ಡಿವಿಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ ಮದರ್ ಸೆಲ್. ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಎಸ್ ಎ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ ಮದರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್. ಮಿಯೋಸೈಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ಎ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ ಮದರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಈ ಶಬ್ದ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರೆ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ ಮದರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್. ಈ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ ಯಾವ ಒಂದು ಸೆಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೋ ಅದನ್ನು ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ ಮದರ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ, ಮಿಯೋಸೈಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ ಒಳಗಡೆಗೆ ಓಕೆ ಈ ಮಿಯೋಸೈಟ್ಸ್ ಒಳಗಡೆಗೆ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕ್ರೋಮೋಸೋಮ್ ನಂಬರ್ 46 ಇರ್ತದೆ. 46 ಇದ್ದರೆ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ ಒಳಗಡೆಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಇರ್ತದೆ? ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ 23 ಕ್ರೋಮೋಸೋಮ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಐದರ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಎ ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ ಆರ್ ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಎ ಎಗ್. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್ ಆರ್ ಎಗ್ ವಿಚ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಕ್ಯಾರಿ ಹಾಫ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಕ್ರೋಮೋಸೋಮ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ ಅಥವಾ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಆರ್ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ ಮದರ್ ಸೆಲ್. ಓಕೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ ಮದರ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಒಳಗಡೆಗೆ ಮಿಯೋಸೈಟ್ ಒಳಗಡೆಗೆ 46 ಕ್ರೋಮೋಸೋಮ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ, ಓಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ ಒಳಗಡೆಗೆ 23 ಕ್ರೋಮೋಸೋಮ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಸಿಮಿಲರ್ಲಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅನದರ್ ಒನ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಎ ಹೌಸ್ ಫ್ಲೈ. In case of housefly, only 12 chromosomes are present. 12 chromosomes are present. Total number of chromosomes present in the body or in the myocytes is 12. So that here, in case of gametes, when 12 are present, half of it is 6 chromosomes are present. And next example is, so similarly, you have to understand about next one is rats. In case of rats, so 42 chromosomes are present. Okay, when 42 chromosomes are present, so here haploid number of chromosomes which are present in case of rats, so that is 21 chromosomes are present. So like this you have to understand. And next one is I can take one more example is okay, so that is fruit fly. I am taking this specific example. ಇದೊಂದು ತಗೊಳ್ತಿದ್ದೆ ನಾನು ಈಗ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಫ್ಲೈ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ತಗೊಳ್ತಿದ್ದೆ ನಿಮಗೆ. ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಫ್ಲೈನೇ ಯಾಕೆ ತೊಗೊಂಡು ಅಂತಂದರೆ this animal has got only 8 chromosomes, okay, and half of it is only 4 chromosomes are present in the gametes. So this is the animal which has got least number of chromosomes, therefore I have taken an example. And next example is Ophioglossum. So that is Ophioglossum. So which is a fern, and this has got the chromosomes 1260 chromosomes are present in its myocytes, and 630 chromosomes are present in its gametes. So like this some of the examples I have mentioned, and please read other examples also, okay, for the number of chromosomes as well as number of chromosomes in the myocytes and the number of chromosomes in the gametes. Okay, so this is about the whole process of a gametogenesis. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನೆನಪು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಪ್ರೀ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇವೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಒಳಗಡೆಗೆ 2 ಸಬ್ ಇವೆಂಟ್ಸ್, 2 ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ ನಡೀತವೆ. ಒಂದು ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟೋಜೆನೆಸಿಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅನದರ್ ಒನ್ ಈಸ್ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟೋ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್. ಓಕೆ, ಈ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟೋಜೆನೆಸಿಸ್ ಒಳಗಡೆಗೆ ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಓಕೆ, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಹೋಮೋಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್, ಹೆಟ್ರೋಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನಿಮಗೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಮತ್ತು ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಸೆಕ್ಷುವಾಲಿಟಿ ಇನ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ಸ್, ಓಕೆ, ಸೆಕ್ಷುವಾಲಿಟಿ ಇನ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಸ್, ಸೆಕ್ಷುವಾಲಿಟಿ ಇನ್ ಎನಿಮಲ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಅದಾದಮೇಲೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ನಿಮಗೆ ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಡಿವಿಷನ್ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ದ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಓಕೆ, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟೋ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ವೆರಿ ಮಚ್.